There has never been a better time than now to come join the Bellisio Foods team. Bellisio has a new contract in place with plenty of awesome perks for their employees. From increased wages, access to the free health clinic, vacation after 6 months, and much more, Bellisio Foods is committed to putting their employees first. For more information or to apply, visit BellisioFoods.com/careers. Take advantage of these great new employee benefits and join the Bellisio team today. Visit BellisioFoods.com/careers to learn more.
Well, good morning, everyone. There was the Apple Festival an entire week in, what was that, like a minute?
Yeah, we believe in doing things concisely.
That's right. We are efficient around here. No, that was really cool, James. Thank you. He did a time lapse of the Apple Festival the entire week, and that's from setup to taking it down, and it's a pretty darn cool thing. So happy Tuesday. Wasn't here yesterday, so now I'm all confused. But Tuesday, Pete Wilson is here in the house to do the morning news update. So welcome.
Well, I'm back, yes.
We're happy to have you back. And, of course, that's brought to you by Nia Henry, agent for Appalachia Realty. Give her a call, 740-418-4135, if you have any real estate needs.
All right. Well, very good.
Yeah. Lots of Apple Festival stuff, I'll bet.
We're going to kind of try to wrap it up because, you know, even if you go to the Apple Festival and you take it in, there's lots of things behind the scenes. They have winners of this and that. And, of course, very few people are there all the time except, probably some of the red shirts. So we're going to review some of that. We've got some photos to show you as well. And then other news as well. We'll give you the latest update on COVID-19 as we have it.
Okay.
But my headline for the Saturday wrap-up of the festival, the finale days, for our Wednesday edition, of course, which will be out tomorrow, have a lot of Apple Festival stuff in it, was a fabulous finish.
Oh.
And they don't take that for granted. The red coats do. The red coats, or the red shirts, we kind of call them that because they have red shirts. It's the Apple Festival Committee of Jaffe. You get confused with the names, but it's Jaffe that does the Apple Festival, and there is an Apple Festival Committee within Jaffe. But the Apple Festival is the main thing of Jaffe.
Yes.
But
got all that?
Yes. The first year president was Brandon Davis. Of course, he was here Monday ahead of the festival to promote it, and he had his first year. A lot of times, the president of the Apple Festival may do it for more than 1 year. Don't know whether Brandon's going to do it again. But I talked to him after the festival, and he was relatively pleased. And I use the word relatively because behind the scenes, there was obstacles to overcome. Obstacles and
Yes.
hurdles is the way he put it. And he was very frank about discussing that. You know, when we were talking there on the stage late Saturday night when it was all wrapping up.
Yeah.
But that is why when the weather turned good from really Thursday on, and then Friday was about as perfect as get. Saturday was good too. No chance of rain. And when you have the good weather forecast, it's not only the weather right when you're there, it's the weather forecast, because that's gonna determine whether some people are going to travel maybe from out of town or whatever.
Yes.
And so it was very good, and they felt like Brandon did on behalf of the Apple Festival Committee that the last 3 days were very good from an organizational conduction standpoint. He felt because of what they had to face with the Apple Festival, both before and during, that it was a successful 80th Apple Festival. And here were some of those hurdles and obstacles, which you may realize or you may not realize. Number one, of course, was obvious, the weather. Mm-hmm. That cut into the crowds on Tuesday and Wednesday. And Wednesday is probably the second big day of the festival. The schools are out.
Yes,
There's two parades that day, lots of activities. And it was a pretty rainy Wednesday.
It was rough. It was definitely rough.
Well, it got better. And Saturday, which was the big finale day, it was really, really good. And they felt that they had big crowds. Brandon felt that the crowds would have been bigger had it not been for, COVID-19.
The big Rona.
Because you did hear a lot of people. I mean, I know that we're kind of living almost regularly now in spite of the COVID-19. We're going out, working, enjoying the things that we normally do. But however, the Apple Festival, if you think about the Apple Festival, entertainment, things like that, that's an option. You don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. You can say, well, I think I'll stay home just to be safe, because there's going to be a big crowd there, especially on Saturday. And there's no doubt that happened with some people. You'll never know how many people didn't come to the Apple Festival. They were interested in it. They maybe, watched the coverage or some of the videos that people did or whatever, but they didn't feel comfortable going, particularly maybe some of the older people. But considering that, he thought that the attendance, Brandon did, that the attendance was very good and they were satisfied. It did hurt participation in the festival as well. In the last week before the festival started, 3 different booth people who had paid in advance pulled out, just over concern of COVID-19 going into that last week. As you know, the cases have increased in the last 6 weeks or so. There were some other booths, the Rotary Club, for instance, that I'm a member of. It lacked the manpower to do it, and that was an indirect result of COVID, because the meetings couldn't be held. Some people dropped out of Rotary or they became inactive, and it's a big manpower thing to run one of the major booths. And so the same thing kind of happened with the Lions Club too. Not sure that it was definitely COVID-19, but that's probably a factor in the fact that they lacked the manpower to do all their veals and fishes. The good news was, they had the Buckeye Hills Culinary Center there in the place of where the Lions was, and the World Outreach Ministries in the place where the Rotary was. So we'll see who comes back next year, whether the Rotary or Lions can make a comeback. I know Rotary would like to make a comeback, but it just depends on how things stand as we get a little bit closer to the festival in 2022. So the COVID thing was another deterrent that they had. Also, the Bates Brothers Amusement Company has been the rides/carnival company for years and years. As long as I can remember, when I was a youngster, it was Bates Brothers. And it was all the way until this year. There was a little bit of a disagreement, a conflict about Bates Brothers' commitment to come to the festival this year. They didn't come last year because there wasn't a festival.
Right.
They booked somebody else in 2021. They weren't big enough to go to 2 places at once, I guess. The Apple Festival, I think, felt that they were obligated to come to our festival, as they have in all these other years.
Sure.
I'm not sure about the dispute. Don't have Bates Brothers' side, but Bates Brothers did not come. The festival committee realized that. And, if you talk to the people who run the county fairs and the Turkey Festival, the Ohilco Festival, et cetera, one of their big things every year is to get a good rides company. To get a rides company and then get the best one that you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And with Bates Brothers, there was continuity with the Apple Festival. So that was a big concern for the Apple Festival Committee and Jaffe. And they ended up getting the Big O Amusement Company, which is, I think, out of Western Ohio. And to be honest with you, if I wouldn't have known that it was different amusement company, I couldn't have told the difference. Could you?
Right.
Really?
No, not at all. And I thought they did a fantastic
Right.
job.
You know, you're talking about the carnival rides. You're talking about some of the concessions there that are not the hometown concessions. You know, the contest booths along the way where you throw darts at balloons and shoot the baskets at the tiny hoops and all like that.
The ones that I always lose at.
Yeah, you never want to try that. I learned that by the time I was 27, but you know, I contributed some money there to Bates Brothers. But anyway, considering all that, they thought that it came off very well.
Yeah,
and,
no, I thought it was great.
And they kept saying this anytime that there were microphones in front of them, whether you know, there was whether there was an event going on, whether they were announcing the parade, they thanked the sponsors. You know, there's different level sponsors, and they either give money or they give material in kind things to help the Apple Festival. And they kept repeating those people. They're also community sponsors, individuals that give, I think, up to $100 just to help the festival every year. The Apple Festival Committee made it very clear that if you don't have those sponsors, you can't do the festival. You can't get Phil Vassar on Friday night.
Right.
You can't get the Parrots of the Caribbean on Tuesday night. You don't get all this other entertainment. They don't come for free. You know, they're paid. Yeah, they also pay the visiting bands when they come.
And let's just be honest, you know, those concerts are for free. You know, so they're absorbing the entire cost of that. It's not like there's a cover charge to get in to see those things.
No, that's right. And with all the entertainment on two different stages, sometimes there's entertainment on both stages at the same time. It's really, you know, a great deal for the people coming to the festival. And, you know, the high school bands, they had 21 bands, I think, in the Saturday night parade, which is a lot.
Amazing.
But they had 3 of those cancel as well. And once again, they were booked, agreed to come earlier in the summer whenever they're booked or it's scheduled, but 3 of them decided not to do it because of COVID. I thought it might be even more than that.
Yeah,
because
totally
understandable. It's an optional thing. You don't have to do it other than the commitment that you made earlier in the year to follow through on that commitment. But, you know, there's other factors the school people have to weigh in as well. So if you consider all that, they felt like it was very, very successful. And we'll be reviewing all that in Saturday's paper at length. We'll tell you some of the highlights right now. Some of the things that happened down the stretch at the Apple Festival. We'll be able to show you some pictures too. On Saturday, they named a new Little Miss Apple Festival, 2021.
Yes, they did.
And it was Hadley House. And there is Hadley.
She's excited.
Is she excited or not? That is actually a picture, a file photo that we had, but it was so good we ran it again.
I love that.
After she was one of the 10 finalists earlier in the year. But there she is, and that effervescence that she has, I'm sure carried her to the title in 2021. But there were 9 other finalists as well. Annabelle Trumbull, Olivia Brown, Michaela Simpson, Carly Baisden, Sadie Newkirk, Callie Baisden, the Baisden sisters.
Yes.
Tylea Henderson, Hazley Brown, and Natalie Harwood. They're obviously all winners. And we want to salute, of course, Kennedy Niddle, who got to be the Little Queen for 2 years.
For 352 years.
Right, and did a great job as the 2019 Little Miss Apple Festival.
No,
by
she's
default,
amazing.
The 2020 Little Miss.
Yes.
And, of course, kind of reigned all the way through this festival to the very time that Hadley was crowned on Saturday morning. All right, so some other winners and results that we want to tell you. They judged all the floats on Saturday evening.
Okay.
They normally do the school floats on Wednesday, but due to some kind of mix-up, it didn't happen.
Probably because it was pouring down the rain and most of them were covered up anyway.
Well, that might have been a factor too. But the winners in the float competition for the schools was Bundy Elementary of Wellston, and there is their float. And that was really appropriate, kind of in a way that Bundy won, because they were the ones who came up, the Bundy PTO, with the theme for this year's Apple Festival.
Right,
80 years of Apple premieres. And that is the theme they carried out there, and they are the first place float. The second place float was Northview Elementary, Westview Elementary here in Jackson, third place, Buckeye Hills Career Center, fourth place, and Southview Elementary, fifth place. And the Bundy kids are there on the float there. I think that was taken on Wednesday. However, a lot of the floats this year, what they did was, instead of being in the float, they walked behind the floats, just kind of as another measure to keep kids from being as close together as they might have been if they were sitting on a float together.
Right.
Now, in the business organizational floats, the winner was a Bryant Exhaust, which is down there towards Oak Hill on State Route 93. Now, is that a nice look? Look at the trouble they went to decorate that vehicle there, and it went through the parade on Saturday night. And there's a good competition. There's about 10 floats or units that are in competition for first place. But they took first place in the business organizational float competition. The other winners were, and this float always gets applause, the Hocking County Fallen Heroes float, which is a military-themed float.
Gotcha.
They're dressed in their camouflage, and it has all the names written out there on the side panel as they go by, all the folks who have died in wars in Hocking County. And I understood, according to the announcements that they had there at the Bellisio Food stage, they even had several names from Jackson County who died in the Vietnam War on that float.
Wow.
And the Hocking County Fallen Heroes float does go around all over the area. We saw it in the Ohio Hill Country Festival Parade earlier this month. All right, so Hocking Fallen Heroes was second. Third place was the Wellston Lions Club Santa float.
Yay, Santa!
Right, it was the very last float in the parade, but by golly, it got third place. Fourth place went to the Christmas and Downtown float from Vinton County, and fifth place to the Jackson County Board of Aging. This year, they did not judge the bands. Once again, some issue with the judging. However, every band that was there got a participation trophy, so they didn't go home empty-handed.
Cool.
All right, in the apple pie baking contest, very important, Paulette Richards won first place honors.
All right.
Melissa Plow was second, and Heather Simpson was third. Those winners were announced on Friday afternoon. Bright and early on Saturday, when the whole thing got started, it started at 7 o'clock when they started signing up runners for the Jackson area Kiwanis 5K run.
Yes.
Went all the way to almost 11 o'clock when the festival closed. The winner of the Apple Festival 5K run was Rob Irvin. A lot of folks know Rob Irvin.
Yep.
There he is just after he crossed the finish line. He is 52 years old, but by golly, he won the race. He, the male winner and the overall winner in a time of 19 minutes, 9 seconds, 1/10 of a second. That's pretty fast.
That's pretty fast.
Rob he had run in his earlier years. He got away from it, started again 3 or 4 years ago, and he's obviously very good at it, very serious at it. And when he's not running, he is the pastor of one of the largest churches in Jackson County, World Outreach Ministries up there near Wellston. The female winner was Emma Newsom of near Jackson.
Yep.
She ran it in 23 minutes, 17 seconds, and 5/10 of a second. In the baby contest, always very popular. There's lots of
They are so cute.
There's lots of and they didn't have to come out in the rain or the cold this time.
No, that was good.
But anyway, Beckham Oliver won the title of 2021 Little Mr. Appleseed, and Amara Morris was the 2021 Little Miss Appleseed. I am guessing that those are the very top winners. After they have the categorical winners by age, they name overall winners, male and female, and that is who they are, Beckham Oliver and Amara Morris. Would you want that job judging the baby contest?
Not at all. Hey, just as a sidebar, do you know who Beckham is?
No, I do not.
James, do you know? Beckham is our own good friend Mark Carmen's grandson.
Oh, my. Okay.
And if you look at him, do we have a picture?
No, we don't.
Oh, it's just... you would know.
You know it's
You would
Mark.
just know.
Okay.
You're like, oh, there's little Carmen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then if genetics works out right, she will be talking. He will be talking fast.
Yes,
right?
very, very
Beckham will
much,
be
and a
talking.
lot.
Right. Exactly. All right. And that's not because of Amanda. That's because of Mark, right?
That's right.
All right. Okay. At the end of the festival, this is very important to note, and we'll have a picture in the paper somewhere on this. But at the end of the festival, they had an auction. They usually try to do a live auction of some sort. And because it was the 80th festival,
Okay.
what they did this year was they had John Daniels, who is very talented, by the way, in metalwork. He did a decorative metal sign that had the 80th festival on it and so forth. There is Mark Carmen holding it up. And the reason that these gentlemen are in the picture is they were the buyers.
Oh, cool.
These gentlemen and ladies who were representing themselves or local businesses or organizations spent anywhere from $400 to $900 for one of these limited edition signs. There were only 10 of them, and they were all sold in a live auction with
That's awesome.
with Ed Henderson of Henderson's Auction Service. And those buyers were, let's give them credit. You'll see them in the picture there if you're watching, on Facebook. Rob Leonard was representing Oak Hill Storage. He actually paid the most, $900. Then there was Carmen's Used Cars and Trucks with Mark Carmen. Apple City Computers right next door to us here with Jason Cruz. Used Store with George Davis. Sherwood Folks Insurance with Dan Folks. Southern Ohio Smiles with Dr. Brian Morris. Superintendent of Schools Phil Howard, although he wasn't representing the schools, but he was there. He is the superintendent. Keith Clark. Terry Trish, who was running for Scioto Township trustee, and Davis Veterinary Service, represented by Dr. Guinevere Davis. And what you may know, if you're a local and you're around, a lot of those people are already associated with the Apple Festival in some way, but yet they and their business not only volunteer to work the festival and organize it, but then they support it by buying these items.
That's right.
About half of them have a direct connection with the Apple Festival.
That's cool.
For instance, Dan Folks is a member of the Apple Festival Committee, and he bought one for Sherwood Folks Insurance. Rob Leonard is the chaperone for the Queens.
He is,
yes. He and his wife, Sherry Lynn, and they did that. The Davises, Davis Veterinary Service, that's Brandon Davis's wife. George Davis, he's been with the Apple Festival forever. He is Used Store, and the list goes on of these people who step up to support the festival. Since it was the 80th festival, they had the old queens back. They didn't ask the horse queens, sorry, but they did ask the old Apple Festival queens, and there are at least most of them that came back.
Yeah, so cool.
And some of them came. I understand one of the ones that was nearly 90 years old was there. I don't think that lady is in the picture, but those are 21 of the ones who came back. They had a reception on Saturday, late Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, and then they all had the chance to be in the parade. And within that group is our own Karina Folks.
Yeah, I see her.
2013, I think, Jackson Apple Festival Queen, Jackson County Apple Festival Queen at that point, and she's there. I had a nice talk with two of the ladies in front. There in the front row on the far left, 1990 Queen is Gwen Wood, now Gwen Wood Thomas from Wellston. And then Susan Moore Craig, the 1992.
Yeah.
I bet you remember them.
Well, I graduated with
bracket,
Susan, and then Gwen, I think, was a year
she was
ahead of us.
She was 90. She was 90 Queen. I'm not sure what year she graduated, but she's from Wellston now, from Chillicothe.
Susan's
I'm not sure
one of my buddies.
Not sure where Susan lives now, but they all wanted to come back.
She lives over in the Dayton area, I believe.
Well, they both came back, and just talking to those two, just in a little conversation after the parade, it just meant so much to them, that experience. And they talked about how much they feel that has helped them in their life, and they have lifetime memories. And that is really what almost all the royalty members say. I mean, it is a big obligation.
It is, and people don't understand until you're put in that position. Hey, just as a sidebar, as I was once the horse queen that I've mentioned a time or two here on the program, Susan Moore are you ready for this? Because I bet you don't even know that this was a thing. Was the Grange Queen at one point.
Oh my, okay.
There was a Grange Queen.
Okay. Well, the Grange in the 1900s, was a big agricultural group. I mean, they were all over the place.
And
there was
I
a bunch
believe
in Jackson County at one time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe, if my memory serves me right, because Susan and I went to different grade schools, but I believe that that's how I met her when I was a young girl at the Grange.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, there was, as I said, they had a great time. Tom Perry, who chaperoned many of those girls, he did that job along with his wife Brenda for many years. He met some of those girls. It meant a lot to him to see them and for them to see him as well.
Sure.
And so it was very nice.
That's awesome.
Another thing that happened at the Apple Festival, and we always want to never forget this, it's not tied to an event or whatever, but it's such a basic thing, and that is, you talked about the Grange, the Victory Grange making their apple butter.
Yes.
And no matter how hard they work ahead of time or during the festival, they always run out. That is Larry Johnson. They're stirring the pot at one point during the Apple Festival. When I walked up to the parade, I'd taken a break earlier in the day, but when I walked up to the parade, a couple hours before the parade started. There was a line there at the Victor Grange in front of the Memorial Building that went all the way back to the Mayu Brown Funeral Home.
Holy
for
moly.
people to buy apple butter.
That is insane.
That's what they were buying because I believe that's the only thing they sell. Everybody loves their apple butter, and that is, I guess, the thing that you want to take home if you're from out of town, or you're a local who comes back, for the Apple Festival. So
don't appreciate it until you don't have access to it,
right? So
as much.
So anyway, bottom line in Wednesday's paper, Jennifer, we're going to have lots of Apple Festival coverage, 2 full pages of pictures, a story that relates what Brandon Davis said about the Apple Festival, his thoughts about it, the problems that they had putting it on, him giving credit to the people who helped make it happen, all that, as well as results that we covered here, and the auction buyers and all that will be in Wednesday's print edition, and of course in our electronic edition as well, much of that. All right, we're going to turn over to COVID-19 now.
Before we go on, I just want to make sure we don't miss this one picture you sent me.
Okay.
Matt McKee.
Oh my! I did forget. I did forget one event. That was on Thursday, and Matt McKee, there on the right. That's our own Matt McKee of the radio.
Matt McKee.
He finished second in the wings eating contest, sponsored by Rowdy's. And he was second behind Chris Armstrong, and that's who he's posing with. And so it must be something about being in the media.
Must
Jennifer.
be.
Maybe you and I and James could give them a run for their money if it's all about media.
That's right.
And, I believe these, I don't know whether they were bone-in wings or they were the boneless or whatever, but I know that Chris ate 12 of them to win. So I know it was a timed event. I don't know how long it took him to eat the 12 wings, but Matt couldn't quite catch him.
We'll work with him. Listen, we need to get Matt in better shape.
Okay.
He's got to represent.
All right. I think he might have been in the contest last year as well, too. So, it's only a matter of time that he catches Chris.
He won last year.
Oh, he won last year.
And
okay.
He was dethroned this year.
Oh, man.
Right. We don't know whether Chris has been practicing all year or he just came out of the woods and a new talent or what it was.
I don't know, Matt. We're going to have to work on this. You have an entire year to do it.
Right. Exactly. All right. Now we'll go to COVID-19 that we've had our wings. And we do want to tell you that one of the pieces of news that came out last Friday was, and this was from the Jackson County Health Department, with the news kind of filtering down from the federal government, and that is that if you had the Pfizer vaccine, the double dose earlier this year, if it's been 6 months since you had those shots, you are now eligible for, it's not mandatory, but you are eligible for a booster shot, the Pfizer booster shot.
Okay.
They don't have the booster shots approved yet if you did the Johnson & Johnson or the Moderna. So this is just Pfizer. But the health department and Kevin Aston wanted to get that word out. We have that story posted online if you want to see the details. It was in Saturday's print edition. But this evening at Jackson High School, the health department will have what they are hoping will be a busy immunization clinic at the field house from 3:30 until 7:30 for Pfizer booster doses. Once again, the only people that this applies to are people who have had the double dose of Pfizer at least 6 months or more ago. And
is there an age limit?
No, there's only 13 and up. If you had the 2 Pfizers, it's mainly going to be older folks, I think, because it was kind of phased in. The younger folks took it a little later. You may not hit that 6 month benchmark yet. But this is not for if you didn't do the Pfizer. And it's not also if you haven't had the vaccination, but you want the vaccination now. This isn't new vaccinations. This is the booster shot only. It's from 3:30 to 7 at the field house. It says here that Moderna and JJ doses will be available to the public on a walk-in basis and free of charge. So I guess you can get those too. But the main reason for having the clinic is the Pfizer booster shot for those who had it more than 6 months. There will be other clinics scheduled in the future. Jackson County Health Department will still even do an in-home visit if you want one. So if you need that vaccination, you've changed your mind about getting it because we've had all these COVID-19 vaccinations, casualties, hospitalizations. They are there waiting for you, just a phone call away at 740-286-5094. I know the Vinton County Health Department also doing ongoing vaccinations. I've not heard from them as far as any specific clinic for the Pfizer booster shots.
Well, they're making it as easy as possible. I mean, take advantage of this.
Yes, they certainly are.
It doesn't get any easier than calling and them come to your house and do it or
Right.
whatever. So.
Now, I asked Kevin Aston this because I'm actually in that category. I took the Pfizer. It's been more than 6 months.
I was going to ask you,
Right.
do you fall within that category?
Okay, here are the categories. I was remiss in not giving you that. If you've already received your first 2 doses of Pfizer and your second dose was at least 6 months ago, the CDC, that's the Centers for Disease Control, is recommending a booster shot for the following group: people 65 years and older, any residents in long-term care settings, people ages 50 to 64 who have underlying medical conditions, people ages 18 to 64 who are at increased risk for COVID exposure and transmission because of occupational or institutional setting. They also qualify for this Pfizer booster shot. So I asked Kevin Aston, just for personal reasons, how important he thought this was. And, it's how you want to interpret it. You are considered to be, he said, if you've had both doses of the Pfizer or the doses of the Moderna and the single dose of the Johnson & Johnson, you are considered to be fully vaccinated. However, the booster shot provides extra protection. Mm-hmm. Now, we do know that there are breakthrough cases of COVID-19 from people who are vaccinated. And
Yep.
so maybe this tells you that a booster shot might be a good idea, if you just go on logic there.
Yep.
But that was what he told me. It's not that it's worn off and that it's not helping you now. It's just this will give you some extra protection. It may even make
little oomph.
It may even make the difference. So we'll see what kind of turnout that we have tonight. As far as recent cases go, information put out by the Ohio Department of Health as of September 23rd, which was at the end of last week. That would have been last Thursday, I guess. In Jackson County, 396 cases in the last 2 weeks. 396 new cases in the last 2 weeks. I think that is down just a little bit, but isn't that a lot?
That seems like a lot.
Right. Vinton County for the last 2 weeks, with the period ending September 23rd, 132 new cases. Now, there's the infographic from the Vinton County Health Department. They had 90 new active cases, and that is down from, it was around 115, I think, last week. So, it's down a little bit. There were no new deaths, but that number there on the end kind of concerns me. If you're looking at the infographic, 13 people in the hospital because of COVID-19. Because, when this new Delta variant started, it was like there were lots of cases, but it didn't seem like there were a lot of serious cases. Mm-hmm. Well, that seems to be changing now. We know statistically and also anecdotally that there's been some deaths, both in Jackson County and Vinton County. And so, this is a lot of cases.
Well, and the wear and tear on our hospital system and whatever, too. I mean, it's taking its toll.
Right, exactly. Jackson County is ranked 13th out of the 88 counties for the per capita cases of COVID-19 for the last 2 weeks. And remember, Jackson County, was maybe 7th when it was worst a couple weeks ago? Vinton County, who was 4th, is now 30th. So from a relative standpoint, there are fewer cases. It's not like they're falling off the end, but what it is, it's maybe getting worse, relatively speaking, in other counties. Mm-hmm. So, this is a ranking thing, but still a lot of cases. Now, just think of that. Turn it over in your mind. 396 cases the last 2 weeks in Jackson County, 132 the last 2 weeks in Vinton County. Here's another startling stat from Holzer Medical Center. Holzer Health System put this out yesterday. They have 86 people in Holzer Medical Center, Gallipolis, that have COVID-19. 86 people have it, are sick enough to be in the hospital. 46% of their inpatients have COVID-19. It isn't like they have one floor or one wing.
Wow.
And that's where your several COVID people are. 46%, a total of 86 of their inpatients right now have COVID-19.
Wow.
Of the 86 people that are hospitalized right now at Holzer Medical Center, Gallipolis, 73 were unvaccinated. 13 were vaccinated. I think that tells you two things. Number one, you seem to be much more vulnerable if you're unvaccinated. That shouldn't be, any startling fact.
Correct.
But it concerns me. 13 people who thought they had protection got it anyway. So, once again, that goes back to the booster shot.
Yeah.
Okay. What that does also now, another aspect of this, Jennifer, is the testing deal. Because, you start to not feel very good. You've been out among everybody.
Here we go.
Were you out at the Apple Festival? So
Right.
what do you do about
Is
a
it
test?
allergies? Is it a cold? Is it the flu?
Right, right. You want to know, but you don't want to know. Well,
Right.
there is an easy way, a quick, easy way, without an appointment, without any rigmarole, without a doctor telling you to go, or some healthcare or pharmacy saying that you don't qualify. You can go to Adena Health System, Adena Regional Medical Center in Chillicothe. I know that's a half hour over there, but there is a drive-through COVID testing testing site that you can do without an appointment. It started
That's
actually
handy.
on September the 27th. It's at Adena's Packard Medical Education Center, which is there on their campus. It's one of their new buildings. They're just northwest of Chillicothe off Route 23 on State Route 159. It operates from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on weekdays, Monday through Friday. Doesn't operate on weekends. No appointments are needed. This drive-through testing site will offer a rapid testing platform as well as a chain reaction nasal swab for asymptomatic patients. You don't have to be sick even to get tested. Sometimes you may have been around somebody. You feel all right, but oh my God.
You've been exposed.
Because you find out the person end up with COVID. Cost will not be a problem. They will bill the insurance. So really no reason not to have that test. If you do come to the drive-through site for a test, you do have to have a mask or face covering or they will not test you. Anyone experiencing COVID-19 symptoms should contact Adena's dedicated hotline, 740-542-SAFE, 740-542-SAFE for advice before coming. But anyway, that
makes sense.
That drive-through site is available. So we've gone through COVID, but there's the rest of the news to talk about too. This was in our paper last Saturday, but there was a young lady who worked at the sheriff's office by the name of Cheryl Brady, who ended up losing her job because she was implicated in a theft for office type thing.
Okay.
Cheryl worked in the front of the office, often met members of the public, but she handled a lot of the business on the concealed carry and background check jobs, and she handled some money, and she is accused of stealing some money from the sheriff's office. This came out from the state auditor's office initially, but an indictment was done here in Jackson County. And the update on that is that the Jackson County grand jury indicted Brady on one count of theft in office, which is a third-degree felony, and one count of grand theft, a fourth-degree felony, back on May the 21st. The alleged crimes were said to have taken place between November 7, 2018 and October 9, 2019. Cheryl Brady is from Wellston. The latest thing was that she is accused of stealing approximately $38,000 in fees received from the issuance of concealed carry permits and the performance of criminal background checks. So a lot of irony there. After the funds were missing,
Wow.
Jackson County Sheriff Ted Frazier requested the assistance of the Auditor of State Special Investigation Unit to do an investigation along with BCI, and as a result, the indictment resulted. In a pretrial order dated August 24th, Judge Reagan, Christopher Reagan of the Jackson County Common Pleas Court, said that the state had received the results of a recent drug screen for Cheryl Brady, and it showed that she tested positive for multiple drugs, including morphine and fentanyl. As a result, the judge ordered her into an inpatient program. She had a pretrial scheduled for September 16th that was reset last week. We've not heard the results of that. But that is, of course, a very interesting criminal case coming through Jackson County Common Pleas.
Yeah, that's
Common Pleas Court. All right, we want to tell you about something that happened in Colton last week. I know we're going to have some more reports on that from through the TV from James, who did a video there. But the mayor of Colton had a press conference last week, not last week, but the week before that on a Thursday, and she was announcing a major grant that they had received from the Army Corps of Engineers. And that money will help pay for a big part of a sanitary sewer improvement project in the village of Colton. This is a total deal of about $6.7 million if you throw all the funding together. But what will happen as a result, and the work should start as soon as November, there will be a new modern sanitary sewer system installed. Colton got a new sewer plant not that many years ago, and they did lines out to Glenroy to increase the number of customers. But the customers in town continued to have sewage, or rather septic tanks. And, that's not the modern way to do a sanitary sewer system.
No.
Some of those septic tanks have been failing, and it's resulted in a lot of expense to the village because they have to be pumped because it is part of the village system. Now they're going to have a system with sewer lines.
That's a big
that will
big
go
deal.
to the sewer plant rather than the septic tanks for the individual customers. They expect that 225 to 250 customers will be served, both commercial and residential, when all of this is done. So Kim Milliken, when she talked about this, she was talking not just about, the sanitary sewer system and the service to the customers. She feels like this will be a big thing for Colton. It'll make it a nicer place to live, more dependable sewer system. You'll know you're getting a top-notch sewer system, when you move into a place. It may, create more commercial and residential development because of this. And so she sees the big picture there. And that video, by the way, is posted on our Telegram Facebook page. All right. The Jackson-Vinton Farm Bureau did their Hog Wild announcement at the Apple Festival. They always time it so they do it Saturday at the Apple Festival. And these are your Hog Wild winners. And they're, if you can look at the monitor carefully, if you're watching on Facebook. If you're not, it's too bad because some of these piggy banks that they decorated, I guess you could say, are really something. And those are the winners holding some of their piggy banks. But the winners were, let's go down the list here. And this is for the Jackson-Vinton Farm Bureau. This supports their youth programs and their scholarship programs. The Jackson County Banking Center won the People's Choice category. Dakota's Roadhouse Restaurant won the Top Hog and the Facebook contest, 2 different categories. Piggly Wiggly of Oak Hill won Most Artistic Creative category. And all these people are represented here in the photo if you're watching there on Facebook. And the total amount of money raised for everything this year was $7,198.75.
Wow.
Those pennies and nickels and dimes went a long way.
All adds up, doesn't it?
Right. And so congratulations to the Jackson-Vinton Farm Bureau because a lot of people really jumped on. They have fun with this. It supports a good cause. It's good publicity for the Farm Bureau. And so congratulations to Senior Organization Director Kim Harless, who's very progressive, getting the Farm Bureau's name out there and doing good things in the community.
She does.
And also Mick Scott, who graduated with me way back when. He is the current Farm Bureau president for Jackson-Vinton. All right, another fun thing going on. Let's mention this. A local man, he doesn't live here in Jackson anymore. I understand he lives in Chillicothe, but we consider him a Jackson boy.
Yep.
Ben Davis Jr. Is that right? Does he live in Chillicothe now?
He does live in Chillicothe.
Okay, well, he was listed in this story as being Chillicothe. I wanted to change it, make it Jackson, but that's where he lives now. But anyway, he is one of the 10 finalists in the contest for Most Talented Beard in America contest. And there's a picture of Ben there. Of course, he has a beard and he's got his guitar. And you have to have 2 things to compete in this contest: a beard and talent.
And talent. Well, he definitely has both.
All right. Well, these other finalists are from all other kind of states: Wisconsin, New Jersey, Tennessee, California, Missouri,
That's awesome.
Nebraska, Oklahoma, and Texas. 10 different states, of course. Ben representing Ohio and Southern Ohio and Jackson. But he is one of the 10 finalists in the 2nd annual Most Talented Beard in America contest. Hundreds of bearded hopefuls from across America submitted videos of their talent to have a shot, and Ben has made the final 10. Here is how you can help with this. Part of the judging is done online. There is a group called WALS, which WHALS. They kind of judge the beard part. But
like the trimmers, like wall clippers and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. But anyway, you can go online and vote for the Wall Man of the Year all the way through October 15th. And the winner is going to receive $20,000. And there is kind of like a graphic there that James just put up on how that works. We hope to get Ben Davis Jr. to be on television. We're trying to reach him today for our newspaper story, and we're going to try very hard to see if he'll be on the TV and on the radio and show us his beard and maybe his singing voice. Who knows?
Absolutely. Would love to have him here.
But anyway, we're going to be telling you a whole lot more about that. We'll have a story probably in our Saturday paper, and we hope to, book him for Main Street TV as well.
That's so good.
All right, we're going to go to sports now. And thanks to our sports editor, Todd Compson, we got some sports news to pass along to you. Last night, the Wellston girls golf team, and you don't hear a lot about some of these other fall sports other than, football and soccer and like that.
Sure.
But the Wellston High School girls golf team is going to the district tournament. They finished third out of 23 teams in the Division II sectional tournament yesterday. That was at the Franklin Valley Golf Course, so it was local. Gallia Academy won the tournament with a score of 373. Waterford from over there around Marietta was 419, and then Wellston was right in there, third place with a score of 442. Freshman Sarah Shea finished 17th. She was the top Wellston finisher. Sophomore Kimmy Aubrey was 21st, and sophomore Nakia Thacker was third. So that sounds to me like the Wellston girls golf team might be good for a while. A freshman and two sophomores were the top finishers. In addition, the Vinton County girls golf member, Jaya Booth, also qualified as an individual with an overall score of 94. She is a junior at Vinton County High School. On some of these tournaments, you can go as a team or you can go as an individual if you happen to be very talented as an individual. And so congratulations to the Wellston girls golf team and the Vinton County's Jaya Booth, Jaya. I think you say it Jaya, or it might be Jaw. I don't know. All right. Another thing that we want to tell you on the sports side is on the volleyball side. Last night, the Wellston volleyball team defeated Oak Hill, but the sidebar story was that senior Cameron Carr had enough assists to hit the 1,000 career mark for assists.
Wow.
And that's a nice stat to have, and you don't score the point, you don't get the hit, but you set somebody else up to do it. Very important.
That's so cool.
But she reached 1,000 assists last night in that game against Oak Hill. Last week, Vinton County senior Sydney Smith hit 1,000 career hit mark. And there is a picture of Sydney. We didn't have time to get a picture of Cameron. We are sorry about that. But that is Sydney Smith, who was honored there. As you can see, they had a sign with her. They gave her a signed volleyball, all like that. 1,000 kills. She did that in a match last week. And she is a member of that great Vinton County volleyball team. Remember how good the basketball team was last year? Well, some of those girls play volleyball, and they're good at that too. They've only lost one match all year.
Oh, wow.
And Sydney Smith has had something to do with that, obviously, with all those kills. COVID-19 related story. The Jackson Firefighters Association has canceled their hog roast and bean dinner for this Saturday, Jennifer. It is, they always do Pig Iron Day. But then they do a very similar event on the first Saturday in October. They have the pork sandwiches. They have the beans made in the iron pot.
So good.
They used to have a car show with it. They didn't have one in 2019. I don't think they would have had one this year either. Ansel Cross always used to do the car shows for him, and he retired from doing that he did for so many years. But they still had the bean dinner and the hog roast. They didn't do it last year because of COVID. And David Channel, the Jackson Fire Chief, told me that a combination of concern over COVID-19 cases and manpower. The Jackson Fire Department has 12 members. They're down to 12 members. They need new firefighters. And, there's only so many firefighters and wives, and it's all volunteer. They get the Kiwanis Club to help them. But it's just too big of a thing to do all that, along with the concerns about COVID, because, you lose some participation of people coming, and you also maybe lose some volunteers who are a little nervous maybe about going out and working an event like that.
Right.
So they hope to come back next year. It would have been at Manpower Park. But don't go there this Saturday, even if the weather's good, expecting to have pork roast sandwiches and beans. It's not going to happen, at least this year. So that's the news as I have it. I was at the Jackson City Council meeting last night. Jackson Mayor Randy Evans says that the paving project will resume. Most of the paving that was scheduled for this year has been done. I think they're going to be working on State and Bridge Streets later this week. And then they're going to do
Okay.
some paving in Fairmont Cemetery as well.
Mm.
So that's where we stand on all the news. I think I'm going to come back a little bit on Thursday to kind of update things a little bit. And I know we're going to have another guest that day as well.
Yeah, we look forward to that. And I think we're going to talk about the Buckeye Furnace Fall Festival,
Right.
which will be coming up Saturday. I think that's this Saturday, October 2nd.
Right. You can see that there's a lot of things going on there. And one thing I didn't mention, I don't want to let my friends in Vinton County down on this. I didn't mention anything about the air show last Saturday.
Oh, yes.
That's because Phil Buffington, our associate editor, was there, and I think he might be coming on tomorrow.
Okay.
And if he doesn't come on tomorrow, I'll talk about the air show on Thursday. But it was a big success too. Great day up there.
Such a perfect
If you
day,
haven't been
yeah.
to an air show, I mean, you've really missed something. It is kind of like one thing you're looking at. Wow,
Yeah.
It's one of those deals. And they had all kinds of parachutists, skydivers. Santa Claus even jumped out of a plane.
I
at
mean,
the
when
end of it.
Santa Claus jumps out of a plane, you know you're somebody.
Right, and special congratulations to the Vinton County Pilots and Boosters Association.
Yes.
That's a small support group that helps keep that small airport going, and the air show is one of the reasons they do it. They actually let you in free, but they charge you for the parking. And
That's
they
exactly
sell
right.
these delicious chicken dinners too.
Those barbecue chicken dinners.
But
Yep.
we will have a lot of air show pictures in Wednesday's paper as well.
That sounds amazing.
All righty.
All right. Well, Pete, is that all you got?
That's all I got. That's all I got.
No.
I'm sitting on E.
What was your favorite Apple Festival experience this year?
This year, my favorite experience. Let me think. It would have to be going to that auction. And I know that's maybe kind of
No,
boring
that's
if you're not
cool.
participating to it, because it just reaffirmed my faith that a lot of people in this town and in this county want to continue to see it happen. They
That's
know
right.
that extra money, I think it might have added up to maybe $7,000 maybe
Mhm.
that they made from that auction. If
That's
you
a big deal,
total
though.
up the things, I think John Daniels, other than maybe materials, I don't even know that for sure, donated his talents. So it just showed me how much the Apple Festival means to people, not only people who go, but the people who put it on. It means a
Yeah.
lot to them to do it. A lot of them, take vacation during their week, and then they put in probably one of
They
their hardest weeks
do.
of the year.
You're right. A lot of people don't understand that. The Jaffe members, they have to take time off. They have to take a week off of work to put this Apple Festival on.
Right. And when I saw some of those people, the same people who volunteer all their time writing checks for that auction, it really reinforced my love for the Apple Festival and my respect for the people who make it happen.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. It was a good time, and it was just nice to see it back on the streets, And I will say too, Jamie and I were out of town the latter part of the weekend, so we came back into town yesterday, and I was just like shocked by how clean the streets are. Like, it's just like it's gone, and the streets are scrubbed, and everything's all swept up, and it just looked amazing.
Right. No, it is something, the work that goes on. It would be quite an experience to walk through on Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon when that's taking place, because that's a big job.
Lots of street sweeping.
The city's
and
folks are there. The fire department comes to hose everything down.
garbage trucks.
And I always looked, in past years, I always looked at where the Rotary booth was, because we had all that grease, and they even get the grease up off the streets. It's amazing.
No, you're right. And I'll be honest with you, this is the first time I can remember in forever, and I don't know what they did. The town doesn't still smell like a giant French fry.
Right. Well,
because it definitely has in the past.
Well, a lot of labor and a lot of water goes into remedying that situation.
Exactly, but no, it was a lot of fun. It was good to see it back, and of course, got to have that Molnar cinnamon roll. Did you get to have one?
I didn't get one this year. The gentleman that does the cinnamon rolls always comes around to the radio more than once.
Yeah.
And see, I'm not at the radio building anymore. I'm down the street.
That's right. But no, just as fantastic as I remember. And it was funny because James and I got one on, I think it was on Friday, and I ate half and took half home.
You can share. They're shareable.
Oh, for sure. To Jamie, and he said, "Oh, I don't want any part of that. I can't, because he's watching his figure." And I said, okay. And so I go back in the house and I come back out and he's got the fork and he's just like going to town.
mean,
He's like, well, whatever.
What can you do?
Changed my mind. I'm like, you can't pass that up.
No, once a
They
year.
are so good.
What can you do?
That's right. And
Enjoy.
you know, it was really nice to see some of the local organizations coming out. You know, the addition of the Buckeye Hills Culinary Kids, that was really neat. The World Outreach Ministry and, you know, some new booths coming in and everybody coming together and just making the festival great.
Right. And you know, the locals know this. You know this. I know this. It's just like a reunion situation.
Big time.
You see people that you haven't seen for even in town. You just don't run into them maybe in the course of life. But there they are. Everybody kind of comes together there. And then
That's
the people that maybe make their sojourn back to Jackson once a year or for Christmas or whatever, they're there. You see them then. You haven't seen them for a long time. And so
You got it.
You do rekindle a lot of relationships and memories that way.
You
You really
do.
do. It's true, folks.
That's what these hometown festivals and things are all about. So
Right. And, you know, all of our communities have them now. So that's
we
great.
do.
That's great.
And hopefully we can keep having them and the stupid Rona goes away soon.
Well, we hope. You know, the cases are down a little bit, but, you know, there's some serious cases, even hospitalizations, and even a few deaths, unfortunately, that are occurring.
Unfortunately. How do you feel about I'm putting him on the spot now. How do you feel about the booster?
You know, I've turned over in my mind whether to get it or not.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to get it to be on the safe side. I didn't have the best reaction on the second shot the first time around. It wasn't horrible, wasn't as bad as some people. I just felt like somebody punctured me with a needle and I had no air left. I mean,
You said you were just super tired.
I was just super tired. I mean, I could have worked. I could have sat up. I could drive a car, but it just felt blah. I didn't feel
Yeah.
real bad. I didn't have any other symptoms other than extreme fatigue.
I'm going to be interested to see because, you know, people haven't really gotten them yet. Like what the reactions to these booster COVID boosters are going to be.
I might buy a little time and see that because you know
let someone else be the guinea pig.
I don't fit any of the adverse health conditions. I just a little bit on the other side of 65 there. I just gave that away. But I've been very healthy. You know, I'm able to walk up the stairs and talk to you twice a week.
That's exactly right.
And you know, the hips work, the knees work. I haven't had the flu, I haven't had a cold all year. So, knock on wood, maybe I don't need that shot. That was why I asked Kevin Aston,
Sure.
you know, well, do I really need it? And, you know, I got that kind of like you could go either way with it.
Well, I think the good thing about living in this country, for the most part, I mean, at least for now, is that it's free and you get to make that decision for yourself what you want to do. And
Right,
and,
but you know, Jennifer,
cool.
you also think about this. You think about your friends, the people you know, the people you know of. Maybe they weren't your friends, but local people you know who died from this.
I know.
And they were younger than you.
Yep.
They were just in as good health from you, and they're
Yep.
gone now. And I don't
It
know whether they were
doesn't-
vaccinated or not, but I know that COVID-19 ended their lives. So
You
that's
know,
a very
and-
sobering. It's a very sobering thing to consider when you're making your decision on the vaccination.
No, and it is, and you're exactly right. And sometimes it's about not necessarily yourself, but what I don't want to give to like my mom or dad or a family member or a friend or something like that too.
Right. I think with the way the world is going now, there really isn't restrictions. You know, they ask you to social distance, but you're not going to do that at the Apple Festival on Saturday night, for God's sakes. I mean, we're living our lives close to normally now.
Yeah.
And so I think the risk of exposure is greater. That's the downside of opening things back up. And so, you know, I had a lady came in at the city council meeting last night. She sat down and was talking, would you rather me sit a little farther away? And I said, I was at the Apple Festival Saturday. What's done is done.
There's no hope for me.
That's what I told her. If you want to sit somewhere away from me, that's up to you. But it's too late for me. You know,
That's exactly
I
right.
I tried not to, but shook probably about 20 hands along the way.
I know.
I try not to, but
it happens. I saw a friend who's since moved away, has been battling cancer, and ran into her down on the street, and I just couldn't help. I asked her if it was okay, but I couldn't help but not give her a hug because
no, that's right.
she's been having a really hard time.
Well, that's
And,
therapy too now.
You know, you're just like, I just need to.
Mhm.
So yeah, you
No.
just can't help it sometimes.
No, that's right. We all need hugs and love in there a little bit. If somehow that's a restriction. I'm not sure that's a good thing.
You're right. You're right. All right. Well, Pete, thank you so much. We appreciate you spending your morning with us.
All right. Well,
because I know you have other things
we'll go
to do.
back and work on that Wednesday paper with the Apple Festival, the air show, COVID, and all the rest. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank
Let's head on to your weather forecast before we get out of here for the day. And it's looking absolutely gorgeous this week. Today, partly cloudy, highs around 82 degrees. Mostly clear overnight, lows around 53. Tomorrow on Wednesday, sunny, 77. Thursday, sunny, 76. Friday, sunny, 74. So, yeah, I mean, just looking absolutely just wonderful. It's nice to have a fall, and absolutely, I'll take sunny and 75 every day of my life. That makes me happy. So, all right, James is over there. He's being awful quiet
I
today.
have been quiet today. Pete Wilson doesn't leave much air in the conversation.
He doesn't. He's full of it. We like to
Yeah.
say that. We like to say that. Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we get out of here?
Well, yeah. So Pete mentioned this a little bit. The Thursday before last, they signed this grant in Colton with the Army Corps of Engineers to
Yes.
fund their sewer project. And we have a little interview we did with Colton Mayor Kim Milliken. That because we were so busy with the Apple Festival last week, we weren't able to play it on the
That's
show.
right.
So I would like to end the show with that today.
Yeah,
If that's good with
absolutely.
you.
We can do that. And this is an exciting, exciting project, and it means a lot to those folks in Colton. So thanks to Mayor Milliken for taking time to talk with us. We appreciate that as well. And here you go.
We signed contracts and agreements with the Army Corps of Engineers for Phase 2 of our sewer project. We have funding for Phase 1 and we have funding for Phase 3, but Phase 2 was kind of not fully funded. So we have just signed off on an agreement for $1.3 million and $1 million for the village. The $300,000, I believe, is for the engineering costs.
Army Corps.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what we've done is we've agreed to accept their money. We currently have a gravity-fed sewer system. I like to call it a municipal septic tank system where our liquids go to a plant, but our solids collect in a septic tank in the ground. And the septic tanks have begun to fail. Not everyone's has failed yet, but a good majority, I'd like to say probably about 35% of them have failed. And every couple of months there's another one that's beginning to fail. And that means we're pumping. Some of these tanks we were pumping one tank every 3 months. And we finally, we were able to remedy that issue, but that's a cost to the village. So the village is spending a lot of money monthly on pumping and repairs to the septic tanks that are in the ground. And I think you heard me say that a lot of that's due to the bacteria being killed by disinfectants and antibacterials that we use on our bodies, our clothes, to mop our floors in, what have you, and they go down in the septic tank and it kills the bacteria that works to keep the septic tanks flowing. So this will save the village a lot of money just in pumps. The village owns each one of those tanks, so it's up to us to pump them, not the homeowner. One thing that I've been asked in the past is, and you do have a municipal sewer system, correct? And I will say, no, we don't. We have, and I explained the system that we currently have. So, and that was a restaurant that was interested. It was a coffee type shop. And then there was also another person that was interested in, I'm not sure what they wanted to start, but they were interested in our water and our sewer. So I'm going to assume it could have been a restaurant or maybe a little store of some type. When we have heavy rains, some of the groundwater gets into the tanks. They overflow, and it's not a pretty sight when they overflow. There's feces and what have you that comes up. So just health-wise, it'll be better for the entire community. And I want to say that no one's in danger of getting dysentery or anything like that, but it's just not a pleasant sight to walk out in the morning and see things laying on your lawn that shouldn't really be there, that should be in the tank. We've had backups into homes, and that is not healthy at all. And that's simply because the septic tanks quit working. We may have just pumped that tank 6 months earlier, and suddenly it's backing up into a home. And we'll ask them if they've called a plumber or whatever. It sounds like it's in their line. And by golly, we get over there and we pump, and it remedies the situation. They were full because nothing was moving in the septic tank. I think there's been a misconception with the community with the fact that they think we're going to raise their rates 25 or 30% on their sewer bill. And we're not. We've gotten grants that are basically free money, or just a couple of grants that we have payback on. And I think, is it $800,000 in payback out of almost $7 million. So out of $7 million, we have to pay back $800,000 over 30 years. Then we also have some loan forgiveness possibilities coming in from the EPA, and that will help bring that $800,000 down. We're not going to be pumping $500 and $600, maybe $700 worth of septic tanks each month. So that money can go towards the septic tanks, or towards the sewer, I'm sorry, and for the payment down. So we're trying to keep, if there is any raise, we're trying to keep it between $5 and $7. And I think Gary did the math and said it could be at the high end $7, possibly $5. And if things go the way we hope, there may not be any increase except the normal yearly increase that we have, which is a 3% increase. I'd like to thank Gary Silcott and Tracy with DLZ Engineering, and also Curtis Strickland for everything that they've done. And Curtis is with RCAP, for everything they've done to help us get all of these grants. If not for them, we wouldn't have any grants whatsoever. They've done a lot of the work, the footwork, to get this done, and it's finally come to fruition. It's been 4 years. We started this project 4 years ago, and it's the only reason I ran for mayor again, was because we were right in the middle. We were just starting to get the money coming in, or the promise of the money. There's another thing with that. The village doesn't handle the money for the most part. The entities do. So when we say that we've been given money, the village does not personally have the $1 million in their coffers. We don't see that. The entities that have given us the money pay out their portion to the contractors. We don't do that. So, and that's a misconception. People think that we've got $1 million or $8 million and we can just use that money to do other things with it. And we don't have that money. It does not come to us. We sign off on it. And sometimes we are a pass-through where they'll put money into our account for a check to be cut that day and sent to the contractors, but the money is not in anything that's ours to keep. So